So, Rebel Moon is a movie that I've been highly anticipating ever since the first trailers came out. And I was thinking to myself, is this going to be the Star Wars movie that we've all been waiting for? But this is from Zack Snyder, so it's going to be the Snyder Wars universe. And well, now it's out, and I'm going to be giving you some of my thoughts on it. And so the general story of this movie is we have this person named Cora, played by Sofia Boutella, and she's basically trying to get away from her past. And her past involves this basically empire like organization of world destroyers called Mother World. And so if you've seen Star Wars, which I think everybody has, this is something that's very, very familiar. And then leading this assault on Mother World is this person who's an admiral, played by Ed Skrein. And he is kind of like a combination of, I would say, like Darth Vader and the admirals, of the Empire. So he's kind of a combination of that. And basically, Sophia Boutella's character, Cora, she's actually on this planet that is a farming town. And one day, the mother world, who's actually looking for her and other people, end up on this planet. And she has to actually fight again, which she didn't have to do for a while now. And because of that, the mother world wants to absolutely destroy everybody there as well. And so Korra now is tasked with making this decision of whether or not to fight or to leave and just, be left alone and not be found by the mother world because she knows what they could do because she was part of it. And within this mix, she actually decides to build a team, a band of warriors who are going to fight the mother world, as crazy and improbable as that sounds. And that's pretty much the whole movie. She goes around building this entire team of rebels, hence Rebel Moon, to go against this. There's many moons, many planets, but that's kind of like the general idea. There are rebels going against the mother world, quote unquote, empire. And that's kind of what you would expect in terms of just the overall story. There's really not much more than that. And if you look at it from a very simplistic point of view, this is very, very similar to Star Wars. So let's get into the things that I think are good about this movie. And it's pretty much dependent upon whether or not you like Zack Snyder films. I myself, for the most part, do enjoy his films. And that's the first thing that's going to stick out because if you have ever watched any of his films, you'll pretty much realize that this is a Zack Snyder film. It has that whole Snyder look, whether it's kind of muted colors, along with spots of color, or it's the whole abundance of slow motion. There is a lot of slow motion here, and everything is highly stylized. And also the music and soundtrack, it's pretty much very similar to what he's done before because the same composer also does this movie as well, Tom Hokenborg. He's actually on this. And so if you've seen any of Snyder's movie and if you enjoy that type of look, style, sounds, then you're pretty much going to get it here. And then in terms of the special effects, this is a big budget movie. It cost over $160 million to make. However, there are some parts of the effects that just look off, or look kind of cheap. And so the one I'm thinking of is the Admiral with tentacles, and you'll kind of see what I mean. But overall, the effects in this film, the looks, the production quality, it looks pretty good, and the cinematography as well, especially when you're on all these different planets and scenes. And so that's probably the first thing that this movie does well. If you enjoy Zack Snyder's looks, sounds, and quality, then this film delivers on that. And then the second thing that I did enjoy about this film is Sofia Boutella playing our lead character, Cora. Now, I've seen many of Sophia's films, and I really do enjoy her. She is definitely a bona fide action star in my opinion, but this movie, since she is the lead star, she's able to show more than just her action abilities. There's also a range of emotions and nuances in her acting, and hopefully this is part one, A Child of Fire, and part two, I really do hope that she's able to show more range of her acting abilities, and that opens up more lead roles for her in other films and shows in the future. And equally to that is there's a lot of really talented actors and actresses in this movie. There's Demon Honsu, there's Ed Skrein, there's Duna Bay, Charlie Hunnam, and of course Sir Anthony Hopkins as well. And so the talent to do this justice is there. And so that is something that is really important, to have people who are talented that are able to deliver on these characters and the story itself. And then the final major thing that I did enjoy about Rebel Moon is just the overall world building. There are a lot of different worlds. There's different creatures, species of people, and there's politics involved. And so very similar to Star Wars. There's even a cantina like scene as well. And with Charlie Hunnam's character playing Kai, it's very reminiscent of Han Solo here as well. And so this is just the first part of it. And so hopefully, as the world expands in other movies, we'll be able to see more of it. And that's something I think that is really important, especially in sci-fi and fantasy, to build this amazing world. And along with Zack Snyder's visual skills, you're able to really see that. Some of these scenes with the cinematography stuff, I think, is pretty beautiful. And so hopefully with future movies, we'll be able to see a lot more of this huge universe.
Hey geeks, if you are a brand new creator and you simply want something easy to get you started, well, I got something for you with my Creator Starter Kit. This is a super simple step-by-step guide that's going to take you from having no channel to developing your very first YouTube channel, along with ideas, thumbnail designs, and other creator tips, including marketing. And the best part is, all of this is free. Simply head over to the link below, check out my page, and get started creating.
Now, as much as I really wanted to love Rebel Moon, especially considering, the recent Star Wars movies that we've had, well, let's just say it wasn't what I expected. And it's really like some key areas of Rebel Moon that really holds it back. And the first one is actually the characters themselves. And like I said earlier, Sophia Boutella does a great job, and there is a lot of talent here. But unfortunately, the way in which these characters are written, they're not that interesting. Besides Cora's character and maybe Charlie Hunnam's character, most of the other people here don't get much to do. You don't really know much about them. And even the little things that they put out is just not really interesting at all. And so you don't have a lot of attachment to these characters. And I think that's really important, especially since it's going to be your core characters in future movies and stories. And that leads to the second thing, is the story itself. It's not anything new or novel, but I think the execution here isn't that great. They're basically just going from planet to planet, scene to scene, and there's a lot of conveniences. For example, Cora, she really puts together this whole team very quickly, and all she has to do is just talk to some people, and that's it. Then they decide to join this against this world destroying mother world. And also, when it comes to the mother world, with Ed Skrein as the admiral, and also I would say the Palpatine character with Belisarius, they're not that menacing and evil. And also the rest of the scenes later on, it doesn't build up to anything really amazing. And then also the action itself. Even though Zack Snyder, he is definitely a master when it comes to action, it's also inconsistent. So in this case, there's definitely action, but I don't think there was enough of it. And even if it was there, it looks really cool, but it didn't really deliver, meaning that it didn't have the impact that I thought it would, even though there is a lot of stuff going on. And then the final thing with Rebel Moon, to be honest with you, it's kind of boring, and with this 2 hour runtime, they're basically just going on this trip, a band of people getting together, and that's okay. But the way in which it was done, it just got boring. There was a lot of talk in there, some exposition stuff, them introducing characters, like saying you are this person, you are this person at a very critical time, and just things happening like that doesn't make a lot of sense. Like things just happen. Like I said, there's a lot of conveniences there. And I think all those things together really makes Rebel Moon overall disappointing if you were expecting an actual alternative to Star Wars in the Snyder Wars universe. And that's not to say this is a bad movie. It's just that instead of being a really great, fantastical movie into a whole new universe, it's a simply okay movie with some cool moments. And that's where I think for anybody who is not a fan of Zack Snyder, and this is something that I think, there's definitely some weight to it that Zack Snyder makes cool stuff, but when it actually comes to the story, the dialogue, and characters, it's normally not at the levels of his technical abilities. So those are my thoughts on Rebel Moon. Part one, The Child of Fire. Hopefully, with the next movie, which is coming out in April of 2024, we get more time with this character. Things are fleshed out, and the world building is more detailed, especially when it comes to the mother world. So you kind of can get more invested in this world and the characters and the story. So if you actually had any thoughts on Rebel Moon or any other sci-fi fantasy films or shows that you've enjoyed recently, be sure to leave in the comments area below, and I'll see you on another episode.